Do you know what Hyundai and Barberians have in common? Well, they both have a KONA N. Oh my god, thank god it's so warm outside because this joke was so cold. This is the 2022 Hyundai KONA N, the quickest, meanest, loudest Kona ever made. Don't really ask me why they made a hot crossover. We all know that crossovers are the new hatchbacks, so no need to analyze this any further. The only shame is that it's a front-wheel drive car. I mean, in winter, with this torque and this power, it's going to be quite difficult to find traction. However, in summer, it's not a problem whatsoever. Under the hood, it has a 2.0-liter four-cylinder turbo engine that makes 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to a very good 8-speed wet dual-clutch transmission, and there's an LSD at the front with electronically controlled clutch plates, so this thing rips. With launch control, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour comes in 6.2 seconds, and with the help of the large brakes with the 360mm front rotors and 315 rear rotors, 100 to 0 comes in just 41 meters. You have a few different driving modes that do very different things. You have Eco, Normal, and Sport for the road, and a few off-road modes too. Because of course this is a crossover, right? Yeah, right. The important modes to remember are of course the N ones. You also have two additional modes for the transmission. You have N power shift and N grin shift, both of which put the engine in a temporary overboost mode. It makes 10 more horsepower for a few seconds, and the transmission goes into berserk shift mode. So put it in N mode, the soundtrack changes, and can I tell you, power delivery is really smooth, and it really sticks to the ground. This Kona is a very quick car despite weighing 1.5 tons. But now back to normal because I need to be able to speak. It pulls really well from down low, turbo lag is not bad, it makes a great sound via the active exhaust, and the overall feel is the one of an exciting car. Pedal to the metal, it torque steers a little bit, but not too much to be annoying, just enough to give you that extra fun sensation. Mind you, the power steering pump has moved from the column to the actual rack in this car, so supposedly better feeling, I don't know, but anyway, feels great. This Kona N handles really well. It's really funny because you can lift off oversteer to counteract some understeer that you have in the corners. Grip limits are really high, however, it's not outright as capable as the Veloster N. But because you have more weight you can transfer about, it's a lot more fun. This N model retains the multi-link rear suspension from the all-wheel drive models. It does not have the torsion beam rear suspension. The downside of fun handling is not so fun ride comfort. I mean, this thing is as stiff as a vodka. Like, honestly, it's really hard on the road. Even in normal mode, the adaptive dampers can't help much as the spring rates are sky high. Bottom line, unless the driver is in a high adrenaline mode himself, this is an uncomfortable car. The 18-year-old me wouldn't mind it at all, but the 42-year-old me is kind of looking forward to returning this car. It does have a handbrake though, so you can impress your girlfriend by smashing it against curbs. Just make sure you have enough talent before you kick yourself in the nuts. Fuel-wise, because with these prices currently, it does really matter. It runs happily on regular unleaded and uses about 8.7 liters for every 100 kilometers it travels. That's on average, and that is amazing for a hot hatch UV. Inside, the design is nice, but it's a bit too dark for me. It's all the same black plastic everywhere. There's no accent trim to break up the monotony. The materials used are okay for the segment and price point. There's nothing flashy in here, but it's all functional and well put together, so it doesn't rattle over bumps. Even though it's this hard, it still doesn't rattle. Ergonomically, it's super easy to use. Everything is simple. Old school buttons have been used. The layout and reach is good. And the instrument cluster is very clear, and you can make it change the theme based on the driving mode. The infotainment system is quite responsive and very easy to use. It supports wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It has a large screen and very nice looking graphics. It also has a pretty good backup camera and a very loud sound system. At the front, you get a wireless charger, a couple USB ports, you get a heated steering wheel, heated front seats, and a heads-up display. There is no sunroof though, and at night it gets quite dark in here. The dashboard looks as dark as it does during the day. The steering wheel is very cool. It has two N buttons, one for regular driving modes and one for the N modes. It has a red N grin shift button and nice paddle shifters at the back. The front seats are very sporty. They hug you and support the body very well. The passenger seat is manual to adjust. The driver's seat is power, but there's no memory. So if you share this car with somebody, there's going to be a lot of back and forth in readjusting the seat. The driving position is, for the most part, okay. I'm a little bit too upright. I mean, for me to have the correct distance from the steering, which telescopically I've maxed out like all the way towards me, I feel that my legs are a bit too close to the pedals. So if I would have put my legs exactly where I wanted, like right there, I don't know, I would have to come even more up to have a good distance from the wheel. And this is like really uncomfortable. It feels like I'm in a right angle, which is not ideal. The rear seats are terrible. The Kona was a tight car to begin with, but this one with a sporty, thicker front seats that take up more legroom. Legroom is really tight in the back. As you can see, my knees are really pushing against where I sit in the front. Footroom on the bottom is good, and so is headroom. Small kids will sit quite happily back there, but fully grown adults, not so much. Also, there are no air vents or USB plugs or heated seats at the rear. The trunk is a good size at 543 liters to the ceiling. It's more than enough for daily use. Prices in Canada start and end at $41,995. Only a special color can add a tiny bit to that price, but that's it. There's no packages, no options, no nothing. My wife really loves this Kona. She thought it's so easy to drive, one of the nicest cars she's ever driven. And that's the problem. People like my wife are people that actually buy cars and build the data which the market works upon. That's why this Kona was built. Personally, I would always prefer a Veloster N. I mean, Hyundai says, oh, the Kona adds practicality. Well, it doesn't. There's not a lot more room in the back. You do get an extra door, but you do get a car that weighs more and has a higher center of gravity, so it doesn't handle as well as a Veloster N. So with that, overall score is an 8 out of 10 for this KONA N, aka GLA AMG wannabe. Sorry. In Europe, they have other funky stuff like this, like a Ford Puma ST, which has a lot less power, but it's a bit cheaper. Whatever. And that's it for the KONA N. If you like this video, please remember to share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, till next time, be well. Bye-bye.